Hello, baby gangsters. This is Calvin, also known as Omer, and this is my first ever playthrough of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. And we just changed some part of the insight or the seance that we got here. We have to see how much we can push against this as well. I find the seance stuff to be much harder than anything else we've ever done in Ace Attorney. Mostly just because it is down to interpretation, and that's literally in the story as well. It is an interpretation that you have to get the right interpretation, which means that mechanically it works very realistically, right? It's just that it always is a bit of a problem for me because I'm not very good at it all the time. But I think mechanically it's very sound because it makes sense and it feels real because that's what it would be like if you had to interpret something like this. Nick, a change in the time of death is bound to cause some sort of inconsistency. True. If I had something that showed it was like that on the day, what it was like on the day could really help. Do we have anything like that? Oh. The Lady Kira figure that appeared 2 years ago remains a mystery. It was the day of the right? Oh, the weather forecast. Calm, clear skies, the warmer temperature will make it excellent prayer weather. Be warned, however, that we'll see a cold front move overnight. Escape prisoner alert. Today's purification rite, the thick white ice that froze on the ground from the inner sanctum to the plaza of devotional till yesterday has melted. Is that it? The rite can now go on as planned. We give thanks to the blessings of the Holy Mother and Lady Kira Hapakari. Because if there was snow all over the plaza and ice, and it just melted, and if the food he was eating is supposed to be the day before the rite, right? That means he couldn't have... He would be, the place would be covered in snow. So are we saying that's how we know he didn't die the day, of the rite, or that he wasn't... Let's try go with it. Because the place would have been covered in snow then. Thank you for that, Phoenix. A little bit of a give me. Sometimes they do give us a little bit of stuff like this as well, where they give us a bit of a gimme. So, yeah, here, he wouldn't have seen the ground. So is it a particular thing? It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern of the plaza ground was visible. That's it. But how do we present the ground? Sight. Maybe?
Objection!
Yes, perfect. Awesome. The change in date and time of the crime. I think that they kind of again, as I said, sometimes in these trials, you get gimmies. This right here. If I had something to show what it was like on the day, it would really help. Yeah. The snow. The snow was a big part of this. Has caused a new inconsistency to surface. Oh, she's angry again. What's this? You are making that irritating face again. Cease that at once. Everything about Phoenix irritates her right now because, again, it's coming face to face with someone who's questioning her. But this is the face I was born with, Phoenix. It's a beautiful face. Now let's focus on what's important, what the victim saw in his final moments. The Gingil. Do you have bats in the belfry, Barb's head? There's nothing to see. The ground of the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes. That's the point. It would have been covered in snow. Oh, Phoenix is so pretty. And that's why I find it so strange. On the day before the rite, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground. Impossible, you say? Do explain. This piece of evidence shows why the plaza's ground was not visible that day. The newspaper, right?
Take that!
It was full of snow. This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size, but huge in importance. It says that the ground was covered in thick white ice the day before the rite. What? But that means he didn't die on the day before the rite? The victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground. He's so pretty. Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments? That's the thing. So either it's a different day or it's a different place. If you have something to say, then say it. The last thing the victim saw was not the ground of the Plaza of Devotion. This can only mean that he was killed elsewhere. Oh my, because I was thinking different day, but no, elsewhere. What? To have Nayuta already slamming the table, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. The way to propose the victim was actually killed. Yes, tell us where, otherwise your argument is worthless. About that. I hadn't gotten to that part yet. Is this something I wonder happens in real courtrooms? Because I feel like at this point, it's not up to you to prove where it took place, but you did prove it didn't take place there. Right? So if you proved it couldn't take place, let's say like a kitchen, like the person didn't murder the person in the kitchen, I feel like it's already something that is like a big part of evidence in the case. Right? Any ideas, Maya? Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green and shaggy, right? Right, but where could that be? What is it, Barbed Head? Giving up already? So we have to find someplace green and shaggy? Not at all. Now, where have I seen something green and shaggy? Where have you seen something green and shaggy? Where, do we have, like... Oh, it's evidence. Okay, this shows where the victim was killed. So the only locations we have are here. There's nothing green and shaggy here. That's the carpet there. There's nothing there. The handprints! Yes! That means he didn't die. Wait, the blood on the ground. Does that mean he didn't die when he was... Oh my, he might not have died when he was on the ground.
Take that!
He might have died standing up. Or maybe that fell over as well. The secret hideout the rebels were using. The rebel hideout? Look at the handprints. Look at the handprints. There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber, but look at the handprints. You're absolutely right. There's no place on the floor, anyway. Then what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout? This is what the victim saw in his final moments. This here?
Take that!
This here? The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs. Freaking great. Well, not great for the victim, but you know what I mean. As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab.
Objection!
Oh, what's the objection? That does agree with the seance vision. Yes. However, one cannot definitely declare they are one and the same. There's handprints there. It's the same picture. I concur. There's no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout. The blood, the blood, the blood. Indeed, what evidence do you have of this? The blood. I've already shown you the evidence. What do you mean? Please take a look at the second version of the photo I just showed you with the colored paint. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of that stone slab. Is this true? Emma Skye can confirm, right? This information had already been provided to the police. There we go, Detective Skye. To whom does this blood belong? We thought it was a high priest blood that flowed from the outside. So we haven't tested it. Oh no, Emma. I guess there's no way you could suspect that it could be someone else's, but yeah, please get this tested if you can. Then you must do so at once. Yes, Your Majesty. We're getting tested. Again, Phoenix played a great game here. I'm not saying that I played a great game, but I mean, like, Phoenix, like, did... I brought him to the line, and then Phoenix, like, ran with the ball. You know what I mean? Because I think we have to praise ourselves when we do good in this game as well, but I feel like a lot of times, like, Phoenix is just really good at, like, fleshing things out that even I don't even think about at the time, you know? It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Skye, your report, please. The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Perez Zealot, just like the defense claims. There we go. Detective Skye, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I get that she didn't test the blood. That is totally, I think it's a totally fair critique of any detective. I love Emma and it's a totally fair critique, right? But I feel like she's also like done some amazing work here, so please be lenient. Dare I have a little bit of Joyce sermon onto you for 8 hours straight? Oh my god, what a punishment. What a punishment. I'm really sorry, but please, anything but that. Because here's the thing, right? You guys know I'm not religious. I also wouldn't insult religion in that way, but for me personally, if you told me I had to go to a sermon for 8 hours, I'm crying. I'm crying. Nick, maybe, just maybe, this is a chance you've been waiting for, I agree. Yeah, but it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but... go for it, it's full speed ahead. I mean, the thing is, like, just the same way we want Emma to tell the truth that is detrimental to us sometimes, we also have to tell the truth even if it's detrimental to the police officer that we love, you know? We love Emma, but that's just the case. The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought of Acolyte Zealot praying during the rite, when we saw him, he was already dead, yeah. That's the only way he could have appeared there. It's the only way. And again, she's very guarded, very upset by this. It's the only way he could have appeared there. And that's not all. If he was killed in the inner sanctum, that would explain one more thing. And what would that be? And that would be how the time of death was made to look later than it actually was. The proof of which was left behind at the sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. Wait. What are we looking at? Is it something like the cold? This music as well. It makes you feel so accomplished. Yeah, like even like for a small amount of time. Which, do we have anything that like says like the... I don't know what to pick here. So this points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. We might have to do process of elimination again. Because I was thinking, is it weather of some kind? Would that be the newspaper again? Because I would say that because it was cold, it would, like, if it was icy out when he died, then it would make sense. You know? The newspaper is what I'm leaning towards, but let's check everything else. Let's do process of elimination. So the newspaper is in. Trust arteries were cause of death was blood loss. No. The inner sanctum photo is just this and that. The melted ice as well. Maya statement. No. 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 This doesn't show how the day. There's no like nothing that points towards like the weather. Yep, I think we could try the newspaper again. But I don't think they do the same evidence twice, but we have 4 lives. Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay. Because I thought because of the weather. Then let's test this idea on your body. Pass? Mr. Wright's body may still be alive, but he appears very much brain dead. Oh, stop that. Don't say that about anybody. Don't say about anybody again. I blew that one. Okay, so we have to, so no attempted murder to cover up the true time of death. So no one attempted, they must have. No, I believe someone did. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. So it's not the actual weather around you. We have to look for something else that is cold, right? Because it's about the change in the body temperatures. The only thing that's cold then would be... would be this, right? That's the only thing that's cold. The ice that's melted. Are they going to say that he was, like, kept in this one area? But how would that... This is the only thing that relates to cold, right? This is the only thing that relates to cold. Everything else is just... it has nothing to do with body temperature whatsoever. If they're saying they kept him in that one space, we could try that.
Take that!
There it is. Okay, great. These are photos of the inner sanctum. I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in the photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. So did they keep him there in that one spot? Do you see how the stove has been removed from the spot, one spot only? That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed. That's enough? The time was mistaken, and the place too, and just what you believe that proves. That my client is innocent. What of her fingerprints on the dagger? and the Plume Punisher theme the victim heard. You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence. So, we have to address the fingerprints and the theme. I think the theme's gonna have to do with the clock. The theme has something to do with the clock. I see your point. I mean, that's how these cases go, right? We take one step forward and they knock us back a bit. Wasn't this your big chance, Nick? I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song from being used as evidence against you. Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them, the clock, right? Really? What's this? You say you can contradict your argument for a key piece of evidence? Very well, let us see you try. Nick, take a good look at the rebel hideout photo. The clock. The clock, yes, 100% Maya. 100%. The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence. The theme, right? Yeah. Because of the clock. The Plume Punisher theme? How do you intend to support such a claim? Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout. Oh, look at his face. There's something that played the theme song under my client's strap. When he gets this face and he gets so determined, I get so happy. It wasn't the strap? Is this true? The item that played the Plume Punisher theme song was this. Right here. They made a point of pointing it out as well. This is a Plume Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off. Oh, she's cutting off right away. What proof do you have that the alarm went off? It goes off at certain times, right?
Objection!
They're going back and forth. What proof do you have? There was my client's strap that played the theme song. Oh my god, honestly, it's not I don't think it's a bad answer. I mean, she's upset by it because it is like it's an accurate answer. It's like, what proof do you have that it's a clock? Well, what proof is that it's the actual strap? Where's the actual definitive proof? Because even in court systems, you can't prove something 100%, right? The only thing that can prove something 100% is like if a camera was directly pointed at their face clear as day as they did something, right? That's 100%. But even at that, I think there's like 99.9% they say, right? Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off her prints on the murder weapon. True? I'm not saying she's guilty, by the way. I'm saying there's still that evidence. And here's what really happened. Oh, she's changing up her... Oh, okay, yeah. She's changing up again. The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. It was the afternoon of the day before the riot, so things have changed at least. The blade struck true, and in that instant he departed from this world. Though there have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened. I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger. That's the thing. It's the most damning piece of evidence. Is that dagger. It's to have fingerprints like that on a murder weapon, regardless of like what we think or what we want it to be, that is a big deal. Most impressive, your benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case. Wait, whoa. No. And I understand he's saying this is about the actual, now that the murder weapon is still the same, it's still like not an inconsistency, but the problem is with this, and again, I want to give like always the judge the benefit of the doubt in these situations. The problem is with him saying this is that there is inconsistencies. It's just now they've been smoothed over. And again, I understand it's because we're in Korean that they don't believe Phoenix as much as they will believe anyone else. But the fact is, we now found out that there was a bunch of inconsistencies in the interpretation of the seance. But again, since we're in Korean, they're not going to give Phoenix his win. They're giving Rafa the win for now changing the seance, but still keeping true to the fingerprint thing. No, there is one. Another one? What's this? You still claim to be an inconsistency? Try as you might, the outcome will always be the same. What is the outcome? So what's the next inconsistency then? Is it something to do with the fingerprints? So we talked about the scent. We talked about the theme. We've proven what the theme was. We've proven what the location is. Wait, there is something that's wrong with their case. Right? Where's the new statement? Didn't they say before? I know they did say before that he put like a foot on him or something. Does it matter which one we choose here? Sorry for not explaining what I'm saying, by the way. The heaviness is what I'm talking about. Because they said before that someone stood on his neck as he stabbed him. That couldn't happen anymore. Right? Because unless someone has like great athleticism, like what is the heavy thing that's weighing down on them? So can we like... Which one? So we can pick the third one, I guess? If not, we'll go to the fourth then.
Objection!
The benevolence isn't this thing. Oh, I know the heaviness is what's wrong with this. I know it is, but I think it's another case of me picking. This is really hard because like it's like you have to pick the exact right one in the exact right frame. So maybe we'll try the fourth. Exactly. That's where the consistency lies. No, I believe in his offense's thought process that inconsistency lies. Oh my god. It is the heaviness, because that's what they said before. How would it work there? It wouldn't work anymore. The pain's not an inconsistency. Of course you'd feel pain. So did we try... Is it the wrong frame? It was the, like... Let's try it here, I guess?
Objection!
What? It's not the heaviness? Oh no. We're down to one life. We might lose here. I wonder should we save here? That's where the consistency... Or maybe we're in the wrong frame then. We're probably in the wrong text then. Can I say as well, I think that like... I don't know if it's like, So, okay, this is probably the frame we should post it on then, right? So if we then click this here... Maybe?
Objection!
That's it. Can I say the biggest, like... I don't know if it's critique. Maybe it's just like my own understanding of it. I find it very difficult sometimes to pick the exact right framing of the interpretation of the seance. Because I know that the pain is an inconsistency, right? At least right now it's not inconsistent. But I know the heaviness is the other thing that's inconsistent. But you have to choose the right text. Which in fairness, now I look at the text, it makes sense that would be the text. But I wonder even if I went on like the third frame instead of the fourth frame there, would it still have been wrong? You know? It's always very difficult for me. I'll just be honest. It 100% is. But he was actually standing with his hands against the stone slab. I think it'd be way easier for me if it didn't have the text with it, but it just has. We have to deal with that. I'm not going to sit here like nitpicking something like that because, again, it's also just my understanding of it. So the question is, where did the sensation of something heavy come from? Yes, I see your point. Since the victim was standing, he couldn't have been held down. There we go again. Then tell us, Mr. Wright, what was the heavy sensation felt by the victim? What caused the heavy sensation Zealot felt? Any thoughts, Maya? I agree that the sense of heaviness seems important, but there's also the matter of Zealot's hands on the stone slab. Why were they even there? Yeah, why was he trying to like, she's so right, why was he trying to like press onto it or something like that? Could it be related to the cause of the heavy sensation? Wait. Was he trying to push the slab? Did we see something about the slab, that the slab was like loose or something? I remember something like was like loose. Oh, sorry, I didn't read that. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have an answer for us? Of course. If I just envisioned the state Zealot was in when he was killed. Oh my god, we've only one life already. The cause of heaviness the victim felt was the falling stone slab, the culprit jumping on him? Was it falling over? The only conceivable cause is the stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath. What? Wait. So was it a reverse thing where it fell on top of him? That's how he died? The stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath. Is that actually the case? That was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt.
Objection.
Nayuta's objecting already. While your theory is impressive, you have overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death. Rather, he was stabbed. Did he fall on a knife? Oh, yeah. Or do you claim that the dagger was plunged in after the slab had fallen on him? It is something we have to prove, right? Plus, if the killer had been behind the victim, they would have been both been crushed together. Well, would you care to explain? I'd love to. That doesn't mean I can. How could the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim? The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him, of course, because he would have been trapped underneath it. But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was? What? Well, there were other weapons in the rebel hideout. But the entrance to the hideout is right by the stone slab. It would have to be something he fell on, right? There's enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within. Yeah, there's not much space by the entrance, is there? I wonder what it could be then. Because if he didn't fall on a knife, because again, to fall on a knife, you'd have to have like it'd be very like, it had to be pointing up. And it's not going to be just pointing up naturally. So what was the real murder weapon then? I better think of something. If the murder weapon wasn't the dagger, then the dagger must have been plunged into the victim after he was already dead. That means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that. Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something else shaped like a dagger. Do we have anything shaped like a dagger? There's the butterfly again. Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century? Okay, Nayuta. And again, Yuta's good at this as well, by the way. He's like, he puts pressure on people. I still think he's like really fantastic at being like the most efficient lawyer we've ever played against. But he's like also like very good at like just like tunneling us into like one situation. And even now, like, even though we didn't take that much time to like really make an argument, the judge will even see it as like, Nayuta's right? Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like near the scene of the crime? What do you mean? Something that had a shape similar to a warbat dagger? What was that? Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright. This shows what really killed the victim. Wait, what? Something that's shaped like a dagger. Okay, so what? It's modeled after a warbad. It's modeled after a warbad. So, but that would have been on the out. No, because it turned in, right? Because it was like a revolving door. So could it be the statue itself? Here? And that's why there's blood all over it. It's not blood splatter. It's literally like the blood dripping off of Zealot. That's what it is. It's just not the photo from the scene of the High Priest murder. That's crazy. This whole time we thought it was like which also removes one of our arguments, I think, then. That like you needed someone like kind of super strong and muscular to make that much blood spray. I was suggesting the murder weapon is hidden herein. This is what really took Perezel's life. Are we literally pointing at this? If not, it's over. Wait, is it this? Or maybe it's just a statue in general. Hopefully. But that is the Warbat statue? I love when you see, that's one of my favorite things about Phoenix Wright, when Phoenix says something and everyone's kind of like, what? You know? Because like I feel like we're coming along for the ride as well, but then seeing all the other characters like react to it too is also very fun. The Warbat statue has a dagger-like feathers protruding from it. That is what really took the victim's life.
Objection.
You imbecilic fool. The statue is outside the hideout, but I think it was like revolving, right? How do you propose to impale someone from someone who's inside? Haven't you heard? The Warbat statue also functions as a hideout's door. Yeah, it's like a revolving door. Not revolving, but it turns in and out. What do you mean? The statue can pull a complete switcheroo. A Switcheroo? Having the Yuta say switcheroo is crazy. To put it simply, it's a revolving door. Yeah, like I was saying, it's a revolving door. This music, I love. The soundtrack of this game is always perfect, but they always play the songs at the perfect time. A revolving door? Why, that makes perfect sense. Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance to be this. So this started falling and he fell. Oh, that's such a bad. Oh my god. I mean, the knife already was crazy, but like to fall onto the Warbad statue, does that mean we're saying that? No, because we still have to prove who put the knife in his back, right? As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came toppling towards him. He threw up his hands to stop it, but the weight forced him backwards. Unfortunately, the Warbad statue was right behind him. Oh. This cannot be. That's enough. But the accused's fingerprints were found in the dagger. Yeah, that's good. We have to figure this out. Because I think the fingerprints would have been on the dagger anyway, because if it's a ceremonial dagger, she probably would have been holding it, right? Because she had to like manage the equipment. She was wearing the costume instead of the high priest, right? She had held it while rehearsing for the rite. Exactly. Yeah. Which is when her fingerprints got on it. Oh, now you're just already this aggressive. I mean, second part of the trial. This is a shocking turn of events, but there's a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor. I believe you must accept that the Warbad statue was what killed the victim. There we go. Awesome. So, because there's so much evidence in our favor now, and because there is a reasonable defense to why Maya has the fingerprints on the dagger, the judge is like, yeah, this makes more sense. This makes more sense. And the dagger, the fingerprints on the dagger makes sense too. Now that we know how Acolyte Zeller really met his demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed this crime. Nice work, Nick. So she's free of one crime? Now you might have something to say? How can this be happening yet again? The divination seance is the only truth. Rafa, as soon as you start seeing the divination seance the way that Dirk saw it and the way that Phoenix sees it, it's going to be so much healthier for you. It's a beautiful, great piece of evidence. It's fantastic. But it's not the be-all, end-all. It's not the end of the story. If you see it like that, and again, I know it's hard because of the religion, right? The religious aspect. But if she saw it like that, it'd be so healthy for her. Because she's so beneficial to the court. But she only sees her, again, which is so crazy because her seances have been so beneficial to the court. Twice now for us. 3 times for us. Well, I suppose last time we lost the case, but she only sees it as a detriment to Karain, rather than seeing, oh my god, I've like moved a step closer to saving someone's life with my divination seance. You know? Know your benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means for shedding light on the truth. Exactly. And it's such a healthy way of looking at it. Look at our handsome man. Do you understand now? Your kingdom needs lawyers so they can interpret your insights. But that means I've been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time. No, you just need to like look at them deeper and have someone interpret them with you, you know? But again, it's questioning her fate. It's shaking her, and you can see it in her face. And I always feel bad. Because she should have been able to like come to terms with these feelings earlier. Your benevolence, are you unwell? All the color is drained from your face. Yeah, because this is emotionally draining. 100% it is. I'll be fine. Continue your proceedings without me. As you wish. Oh, man. I feel kind of bad for her. 100%. Rafa now has to come to terms with once again that her divination seance interpretation was wrong. And again, hopefully we'll get to a point where it's like, you're upset that your divination seance didn't kill Maya, basically. But in her head, that's not what she's thinking. It's her divination seance wasn't true, wasn't the absolute truth. But she should get to a point where it's like, your divination seance is about to save Maya, and it also saved a 9-year-old kid from dying too. You know? Now then, I would have the defense continue. Please explain what you have learned now that we know the victim has already actually died. Acolyte Zella was killed in the hideout before the high priest's murder. That means the body was found and the Plaza of Devotion was moved there by the real killer. But only after the Warbad dagger was thrust into him, to make it look like the murder weapon. That does seem to agree with what we now know. But why would the killer go to such lengths? I believe stabbing Acolyte Zella with the dagger and moving into the plaza was a warning from the Twilight Realm, a crime committed for fun to make it look like a serial murder. This would make sense, because then it looks like Maya did it. Yeah, it looked like Maya did it. It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer, 100%. The easiest thing to do in the world, right? Let's pass it on to someone else. That's right, the real killer planned all of this. This forged serial murder case. They did? That's it, Nick. Keep hammering away. I love that she's so happy with us as well. She's so proud of us. Oh, just as I say that. He's getting serious then, is he? He's getting serious. Your reasoning has more holes in it than a cheese you foreigners so enjoy. Swiss cheese? I've never had Swiss cheese. I think I've had Parmesan, cheddar, mozzarella, and that's probably it. I don't have much cheeses. I'm not a big cheese guy. What? Like those putrid whole little clumps of curds that only a rat like you could love. Your reasoning, much like your putrid whole little brain, has putrefied. What's his deals with things going putrid? He loves the word putrid. You've yet to overturn my argument that the accused is the killer. A careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows. When Nayuta gets in the zone, it is kind of scary. Disguised as Lady Kira, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the rite. Oh my god, he's gonna stretch this into it being Maya again somehow, right? But Acolyte Zella had followed her there after noticing her suspicious behavior. This is all speculation. We have like so much evidence to prove that like this couldn't be Maya. Caught by the surprise, she pushed the stone slab towards him, and we know the rest. That's so. Where's the proof that she pushed it? Why would she put a dagger that doesn't make any sense? I've never been to the rebel hideout in my life. Here's the thing, usually you guys know I'm usually like on the think that his pushbacks are good. Again, it will work. I know it will work because he's very good at what he does. But I don't know why anyone in the right mind would push a stone slab into someone to kill them. Because already then and there'd be no evidence that you killed him. The stone slab was loose and he fell on it. And actually, let's be honest here, no one would have found the body. Nobody would have found the body. At all. So, why would Maya then bring the body back down there and then stick the knife in the back? The only people who would have found the body were rebels, and the rebels aren't going to report the death of their comrade to the police. So why would she do that? When the high priest arrived at the sanctum the next day, he realized what she had done. This is for Nayuta. I feel like this is the first time we've actually really strongly, early enough, backed him into a corner, because I feel like it's like one of those situations like this is very speculative. Very speculative. Usually he's so efficient. That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him. I believe Prosecutor Somebody has posed a compelling scenario. That's what it is, a scenario. But again, I'd counter that by saying what I said there. If I'm going to kill someone, right, and they're in a place that no police officer knows about, no one in the no high priest knows about, no one in the order knows about, that nobody knows about, right? And even here's the thing as well, right? If Abbot Inmi knew about the hideout, he finds the body, and he goes, "Oh, I better report this." What's the first thing the police are going to say? How did you know about the hideout? How did you know about this? You knew about this, and then all of a sudden one of the rebel hideout is no longer useful. All those guns, everything is found out. They're not going to do that. So why would someone kill someone in there, right? If they weren't going to find the body. Now you could argue that that's the same for any killer who killed him in there, 100%. But they wanted to frame Maya. Someone wanted to make it seem like it was Maya who did this. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's guilt. I feel like this time around, and you guys know me, I'm usually I praise the efficiency of Nayuta all the time. I think that while we didn't prove fully that it wasn't her who did it, I feel like we actually offered up some evidence as to what happened and why the fingerprints would be on the knife. But I feel like Nayuta's point here for the first time ever is just like it's just a scenario.
Objection!
Lovely, an objection. We love an objection. Why would my client move Acolyte's body to where everyone could see it? Exactly. Why? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints onto his dead body? That's another question. Maybe now we're going to see how Nayuta pushes back on this. Because right now I'm looking at her, I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it. She had no reason to do any of those things. Come on. The dagger in his course was likely a warning to the rebels. No. You think, again, this isn't, again, I understand this is a good pushback from Nayuta. We expected a good pushback. But like anyone who's known Maya for 2 years, a warning to the rebels? Something along the lines of Lady Kira was slated to find dragons. Again, that's also just like a speculative thing. So that is why she moved the judge. That is why she moved the body to the plaza for all to see as a warning. Now he has the judge to convince too. Yeah, he does. I thought I finally made some headway. We did, but again, Nayuta's smart. He's smart as heck. He's a genius, right? And again, I'm gonna praise him, even though I don't agree with his speculations. I'm gonna praise him because not in a good way where I'm like, oh, he's such a good dude, but like the fact is, Nayuta has just turned this around once again, where it went from, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense what you're saying, Phoenix. That makes sense. To him being like, well, I know the judge is gonna like hear me out. I know the judge is gonna like listen to me. And I know the judge is very like, is already believes that she killed the first person the first time around. So let me use that to my advantage. I can totally sway the court this way, you know? Well, Mr. Wright, about time for one of your groans of distress, is it not? Groan of distress? It kills me to admit this, but I've got nothing to counter his argument with. And I still haven't disproven the allegations against Maya. Is it not time to end your futile story? And by the way, that is true. We have not disproven fully beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't Maya who stabbed someone with the dagger. We haven't. I want to make that clear. We have not. But we offered some evidence as to why he could have died beforehand, and then some reasoning as to why, you know. And again, his counter was great because again, it appeals to the Karain system. Well, it was to warn the rebels. And then the judge is like, yeah, that makes sense. Because again, they're from Karain. It makes sense. Again, it's one of those things where like, it is efficient in his own way once again, even though we don't agree with it. It's like, yeah, that's a good pushback. Now that I think about it. I love that I was like, he's usually better at this. And then I'm like, well, actually, no, that is good. Because it's like, again, it's using the systems of Karain to his advantage. You already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Jesus Christ. I mean, he's right. We're already up for the chopping block. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finding no peace. Jesus, Judge. He's saying, how about just die? A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are all lawyers who practice in Karain? It's so, you know what's so crazy? They're not wrong when they say we're about to die, that we're up for the chopping block. But it's so hard to hear it. Like, have two people in a court system just like, yeah, you're gonna die. You and Maya are gonna die. And that is Karain. That's their system. But I must admit I misspoke earlier. Allow me to amend my statement. I said the defense reasoning had a putrid cheese-like smell. But I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body on the verge of death. Again, he loves playing with us as well. Look at this. Now I'm a rotting zombie. Think, who could have killed Zealot the day before the rite? Who knew about the rebels' hideout and could gain access to the inner sanctum? Well, that's a rebel, but he couldn't have done it because he was in prison. The only other one is the other rebel. Yeah. Because look at this. Here now. That's a rebel, was in prison. The only other person who'd known about it was Abadimi. Trust in me. It's him. He's the one who did it. Wait a second. He's so pretty. Only rebel would have known about the secret hideout. And the only person who was involved with the rite had access to the sanctum. And was suspected of being a rebel is... Yep. Did somebody come to mind? Yes, except there's one huge problem. A huge problem. He's gone. He's dead. What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from the sacred hall? I would not put it past you, considering you have no means to raise further objection. If I don't do something, Prosecutor Samadi will have this one in the bag. I'll just have to bluff my way out of this, regardless of the huge problem. Your Majesty, I believe there is another suspect in Perez Zealot's murder.
Objection.
Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist. They do. They do exist. This is going to be a problem, right? Because we can't question them. We can't do a cross-examination. They're gone. There's one person who knew everything. Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us who that might be. I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zealot's murder is... Yep, it's the only one who would have known about the hideout. It's the only one. It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the rite. Pushing back right away. You would pin a crime upon the dead, knowing very well the dead they tell no tales. I mean, great music here again. It's the only one it points to. It's the only one that makes sense other than Maya. And not Maya would make sense either, but like in terms of their system and the way they look at things. Have you no shame? Dead men tell no tales. That is definitely a problem. Yeah, we can't cross-examine them. If only the High Priest could tell us his side of the story. Maybe they could? What, do I have something on my face? Wait a second, could this actually work? Is he thinking about Maya's channeling? Oh no, don't tell me I have something, my breakfast caught up between my teeth. If you did, we would tell you right away. It would be adorable as well, Maya. It would be adorable. No, if there's even the slightest possibility, I'll have to go with it, but then she'll have to reveal she's a channeler, right? Your Majesty, dead men do tell tales, therefore I would like to request the High Priest's testimony. Oh my god. We're gonna get testimony from a dead person, which again, we've gotten help from dead people before. And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify? There's one way for the dead to testify, known as channeling. Yep. Summon him here by the means of spirit channeling. What did you say? Oh my god, the spirit channeling. Has this lawyer finally got insane? This is sacrilege, letting the Holy Mother strike him down. Of course they're so against it. Of course they are. Peace. I'm frankly astonished you even know of such a thing. But the spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Garen can perform. We know there's someone else that can do it. And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure. Pleasure? It's a freaking case where two people could die. Well, then again, it's Karain. I suspect much. That means our only hope is we're gonna have to reveal Maya can channel. What is this gonna mean for Maya, though? Oh, Maya, I'm so sorry, because I know she's been keeping this hidden. It's okay, Nick, you can tell. Well, this is her life. That's the thing. Oh my god, yeah. Like, she's gonna die anyway. Like what, they're gonna think less of her? They're gonna be like, oh, that's sacrilegious? She's gonna die. But Maya, she's gonna die. I thought you wanted to keep it a secret. Here in Karain, she will die. If she, that's why. She will die. Don't worry. It's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precepts, so I don't think it'll be punished. At least, I hope not. But it's a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become a master of Karain. We don't have any other choice now, do we? That's the thing. I would rather her not be a master for the rest of her life if we had her alive. You know what I mean? She can work with me in the right ending agency for the rest of her life. You know? I'd rather that than have her freaking dead. I'm acting like that's a bad thing that she would work for us forever. That'd be amazing. But you know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather her not, like for anybody, I'd rather, if someone came to me tomorrow and said like, I have a dream of becoming a musician. But if they were about to die and you had to like stop that dream from happening somehow, I'd stop that dream from happening. If I'm found guilty, it'd be a lot worse than not be. Exactly, Maya. She's so right. All right. Thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who is capable of channeling spirits. But even a benevolent Princess Rafa finds the divination seance to be a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she aside from the... Oh my god. They're gonna see Maya as having greater spiritual power? That already is gonna be a big deal for Rafa. And for the court and for everybody. The one they've accused this whole time has had better, and the one they see as like a murderer who's going to be killed has greater spiritual power than the princess. Holy hell, that would be me. Oh my god, Maya. Is this some sort of joke? A foreigner could not possibly have such power, even though a priestess is incapable of such a feat. Oh no. Peace, I say. Is this true? The accused is capable of performing the secret art of spirit channeling? Well, yes. Yes, I can. Now, Your Majesty, we'd like your permission to begin. Rafa stopping it. Oh my god, Rafa. Of course Rafa would have a problem with this, right? Your benevolence. This is an outrage. An outrage, I say. First you make a mockery of the divination seance, and now spirit channeling? Her benevolence speaks true, and look, yeah, they're all supporting her 100%. Foreign devils, I say they should be put to death immediately. Still your voices. Bob Ted, spirit channeling is a most sacred and secret of the arts. Are you prepared to face the consequences of what you propose? Yes, I am. Your benevolence, are you saying you approve of the use of... Oh my god, what? I will judge whether their claim is true. If this is but another of their lies, they shall be executed. Oh my god. The trial wouldn't even go any further. She'd kill us right there. Very well then. That's huge. And again, it's another way for like this to, again, I know we talk about all the time, like if they're dead and they die from this, that's another proof that the lawyers were liars in the first place. This will again add to Karane's system, their beliefs, Rafa's beliefs. Oh my god. What if the accused accidentally calls forth an evil spirit? That's honestly, he's thinking right. Do you truly believe this foreigner is capable of channeling spirits? Again, of course. Rafa's like, yeah, let's do it because I know they can't. Yeah. No, but I wanted to be sure as if I'm responsible for the safety of all present. Well, an experienced practitioner could inadvertently call forth a dangerous spirit. But do not fear, for I have a Magatama of parting. With it I can send spirits back to the Twilight Realm by halting the flow of spiritual power. That is a relief indeed. These foreigners have thrown down the gauntlet. She's, again, as you said, this will prove her right all along. If this isn't true, not only does she get to like end this trial, but now they're really liars. If they lied about this, they lied about everything else. Once again, reaffirming what she's believed all this time. Let us not shirk from our challenge. We must prove them guilty and deliver their last rites. Do I make myself clear, Prosecutor Samadi? Perfectly, Your Benevolence. Very well. The accused may channel the high spirit. This is going to be so huge. Because when this happens, if it does happen, this is going to be a huge step. I think it's going to be a huge blow to Rafa. But it's going to be a step forward for Rafa at the same time too. I really think it will be. Okay, here we go. A short recess to prepare. Fair enough. We'll resume as soon as the preparations are complete. Until then, this court is adjourned. To be continued, there it is. This is going to be huge. This is going to be absolutely huge. Because when I say it's going to be a step forward for Rafa, I legit mean it. Because what we're going to have is, Rafa's going to give her, her perspective is like that she wants to do this because she believes that Maya will die from this. And I think as a 14-year-old, and someone pointed this out, that she doesn't have like this concept in her head of like how important death is to other people. Because for people in Karane, if you die, you can be absolved afterwards. If you believe in, when you go to the Twilight Realm, you can actually like change who you are and like you actually be absolved of your sins. So it's actually like a gift to criminals. If you're a liar, you die. This is a good thing for you. But the way she's framing it now is like, if they die right now, then everything I believed so far has been true. They lied about the channeling. They must have lied about the divination seance. And what will happen? What will happen if Phoenix and Maya die right now? Rafa goes back to believing and to just going day by day, everyone telling her she's right all the time, the divination seance being the absolute truth no matter what, and she can move on with her lives. Now, here's the thing. Do I think that Rafa is the type of person who's like, I want to just murder people? No. The reason why she's calling for people's deaths is because in Khura'in, this is the system in place that is actually a supportive system in their eyes. As he said, that's what they want. That's the biggest wish a criminal could have. You die and you get absolved of your sins in the afterlife if you accept your death. But this is why Rafa wants to do it. Rafa so fully believes confidently that this is where she's like, okay, there's no way she can do this. After all this time, they've been questioning me. They've been making me feel like I'm questioning myself. This is the one thing I know that she can't do, even though we know she can. But what this is going to prove if Maya can do this, and we know she can, is that she is more powerful than Rafa. And that is going to be, again, as you said, a big blow to Rafa, but I think is a huge step in taking a step forward. This episode was kind of like a lot of tosses and turns, I think. Like we had a story of I guess it was trying to prove how Perezella died, I guess is what you could say here too. And what we were able to prove was that he didn't die from the dagger itself. He died from falling in the Warbad statue. He died from the stone slab falling into the Warbad statue. And we were able to say that, there's a reasonable assertion that Maya could have held the dagger as she was rehearsing. But in a very smart way, again, I don't like it, I don't agree with it, Nayuta used the system that's in place in Crane once again to push back on it by saying, well, she probably did it to fight the rebels. That's what Lady Kira would do, right? As a message to the rebels. But again, I think the reason why this isn't a good thing, because I would have thought that would have been like, Maya's amazing. She killed 2 rebels. But in this case, it's actually like, I think they don't want anyone dying by someone else's hands, But yeah, that's the way I see it anyway. Is like we were trying to prove that Perezella died in a different way and that Maya didn't kill him, but we weren't able to actually prove fully that she didn't do it because, again, we can't prove fully that the fingerprints were just there because of the rehearsal. We can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't Maya. And the speculation that Nayuta posed forward worked, especially within the system that we are now. And I say within the system is that any other place, I feel like people would just be like, that's speculation. But Nayuta's smart. He's like, no, well, like... he used, keywords, rebels, and messages to show the rebels. This was like something that, it's like very like directed at the rebels. And it was 2 rebels who died. We're trying to look at this from the perspective of someone wanted to say that this was a serial killing because it makes it easier to say, well, 2 people died. And Maya did both of them. For the killer, that's the easiest way to get out of this. Maya killed both these criminals, right? But from our perspective, we're trying to prove that, why would Maya do this? And from us, we know that Maya is not a bad person. But from the court system, they just see her as another foreigner who's just, coming into their space and, messing things around a bit. What we're going to have to do in the next one is we're going to see this channeling. I've never been more excited to see how this might work. Because, again, I'm so invested in Rafa's story, so invested in the Maya revealing this channeling. And I think we're probably going into, the last stages of this. Maybe there's 2 more parts we don't know. But I think, usually, we've been doing this particular one for a while. Just an insert here as well. I do love the relationship between Maya and Phoenix, and I love how she's always so happy when she sees Phoenix succeed. Of course, that means she's gonna be better off if he does succeed. But I'm also really in love with the just the dynamic between the 2 of them. I think that the pushback between Nayuta against Phoenix and Rafe against Phoenix is always very good too. That kind of put back and forth is always great in this trial too, in these trials. And I think that there's a desperation from Phoenix because he doesn't have all the ducks in a row, but he's trying his best to put anything there he can. And I think it's more than ever he's doing that. I think it's a really great way of doing it. So I have to see where else it goes. But yeah, that's what we're trying to prove now. I'm super invested in this. I'm so excited to see where else this goes. Where's the phone to say thank you to the patrons? I want to say thank you to my patrons at the highest tier for being so freaking amazing. You're incredible. You're awesome. I adore you. Thank you so much. It keeps this channel afloat. That's basically it. It keeps this channel afloat. And that list of names is Tyfire 2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, Felicius Felix, Yuld, Radish, and Nusta, Yassassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Selson, Liam, High Casparian, Neo Sharite, and the high streamer YouTube, Rorgrim7, Blasco, and Lusanagi. I'll see you all so soon. Bye bye.